Today we're talking about reading the burrow on greens and also judging the pace of the greens. This can have a big bearing on the way you play the game of golf. Quite often we find people tend to line up the ball by standing over the top of it. The best way is to get behind it, sometimes get down very, very low to the ground. You'll get a better judgment of where the burrow lies. But I think it's also important, especially on long putts, to stand away from the green. As you walk up to the green with your bag, have an awareness of the terrain. Have a look at the slope from a distance. You'll get a much better idea of how much slope there is than if you get on the green and you sit down behind the ball. So what we do here is, when there's a big slope left to right, right to left, you are far better to take extra slope, extra distance from the hole, from being left to right, right to left, so that if you do mishit it a little bit, you still have a little bit in your favour. If you take just what you think is the correct amount of burrow, then if you mishit it a bit, then you're in awful trouble. So what we'll do here is we'll have a putt from this long distance here. We'll take a 6 to 7 foot left to right putt, and we'll line it up, and we'll see if we can judge the burrow and the pace. And if I look at that, that's looking pretty good from here. Just a little long, but we got the burrow right. Another thing about putting, judging the pace. Sometimes it takes a few holes before you actually work out the speed of the greens. Going onto the putting green, the practice green, is sometimes a good way to do it, but often the practice green is running at a different speed to the golf course. So what you need to do is, when you play on the course, if someone else has a putt first, have a look at their burrow and have a look at the speed, the pace of the green. You can quite often read the speed and the burrow from what your opponent or your partner are doing. So a good tip is to have an awareness about you. Keep an eye on the burrow, keep an eye on the speed. If you're putting up the hill, imagine that the pin is a metre at least past where the hole sits. So if you play to pass the hole a metre or more, then quite often you will find you'll get yourself near the hole. More often than not, people putting uphill tend to leave the ball short of the hole. The other thing is, when you're putting downhill, you need to be able to feel like you're putting half to 3/4 of the way down, and then let the green take the ball the rest of the way to the hole. The speed of the greens will vary depending on the courses you play or the preparation of the course that you normally play at. If you are struggling on the early holes and you're short 1 minute and you're long the next minute, then you have to try and get a feel for that green. You have to keep your awareness about you and pick up the pace of the green as soon as you can, because once you're out on the golf course and you lose the speed of your greens, it can be a very long day. Good luck and good golfing.
Golf Zone TV is proudly brought to you by the Golf Zone online golf shop.